we're here. You're going through levels of consciousness right now. That's what's occurring. You beings in your world, you think you have authorities over your destiny, you say. You're realizing in the beginning you were a predetermined being. Something, someone, somehow predetermined you. And you were born in a fetus sexually designed for your purpose here, in this time, and space, and consciousness. And you're seeing in your news this divergence. Males should be males and females should be females for a reason. It has to do with sovereignty. It has to do with understanding the power you had within the fetus and the power you didn't have. You came in, say you were a male, and you desired to be a female within the fetus because of the love of the mother, your mother, giving you birth. So as you're born, you come out and have the desire for that understanding to be a female. You're not understanding the power of your own self, that the female loves you. You were destined to be one, and you changed it, as you say. Free will. Well, right now you're going through another portion of your consciousness. It's the water portion of your consciousness. You're 75% water. You've seen in your photos of beings, from beings, that photographed water under different circumstances. You saw the frequency of the water when prayers was offered and other things. What do you think happens to the water within you when prayers are offered? Same thing. You've been given the demonstration scientifically for your, how are you going to say, for your understanding of the free will consciousness that you have and have not. Prayers help you develop that unified consciousness with all living things. All living things require water. And your oceans are being polluted, and the sea creatures are dying and showing themselves upon your beaches. Your consciousness is going to have to change, literally. You're going to have to begin to calm your waters. Have confidence within yourself in the divine frequency that's within the water. Because the water knows. Everything comes from the water. Water has an entity in its power. You see the size of the oceans. There's an entity that controls the oceans. So what do you think it's going to do when it shows up and you're there messing around? You're going to be like a pebble tossed about in the sea, which is about what you are now, because that's where consciousness is in your planet. You can see it in your news media. Very little mention of God. A lot of mention of other things, castigating everyone else but yourself, and straightening things out. There's a responsibility for having a body, for having a soul, for one, and having the acknowledgement of the spirit. There's a responsibility there. And in your world you have the seekers for divine wisdom and prayers in the churches and things. And that's a good thing. Yet the seeking is within the seeking. You need to contemplate yourself and say prayers for the water of yourself. You need to say prayers for the water of yourself. I'm telling you that. I'm going to say it again. You need to say prayers for the water of yourself, because it'll offer protection. You're under a spiritual attack now. That's why your feelings and emotions are coming kittywampus, going kilter all over. That's why you're thinking all sorts of crazy things. That's why you need to settle down. Pay attention to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. That was the crucifixion hour of Christ. Pay attention to your body when the feelings come. Quiet the mind. You're talky. You need to breathe and be at peace with yourself in these times, particularly now. Today is November 15th, 2017. You're going to need to get a hold of yourself individually and remember your sovereign identity within the you of you here for comfort and the understanding of the pleasure of the water. Not for control of others. You cannot do that. Well, you can try, but it's not going to work anymore. There's going to be a spiritual force coming and blessing those who are blessing and blessing those who wish to be blessed. Because there's work to be done. And it's a spiritual force that's going to work through you. Through you. You're not it yet. You wouldn't be acting the way you're acting. If you were it, you would know it. You wouldn't have to tell anybody anything. You wouldn't have to talk about anything. You wouldn't have to do anything. Except the doing that you know you need to do. And basically is when you see something to be done, you do it and you don't put it off, or I'll get that tomorrow. Now. Do it now. And you'll find out that you've extended your life, not just by minutes, or seconds, or hours, but you've extended your life. Instead of putting things off, you got things done. That's the necessity now. You need to quadrantize yourself. In other words, get yourself inside a cube, stabilize the four walls of the cube, stabilize the top, stabilize the bottom. Call your friends and family within the center of the cube, be with you as you proceed in the understanding of yourself. And if they wish to proceed with you, allow peace to all beings. Because there's a movement upward and there's a movement downward. We've told you that gravity is a push, not a pull. You're being pushed here. You were sent here. Particularly if you're hearing this message. You need to acknowledge the sender. It came through your father, your physical father, but it came beyond that. And the manifestation was through your mother, your physical mother, and it came beyond that. So you need to link those chains. And by change, I mean the DNA, because that goes back to when you were when. For the information you need now is prayer. My recommendation is Psalm 6. It's a short one. It's an easy one to remember. And it asks for forgiveness, which we're all going to need to. So peace to all beings and mercy as the force of justice begins to show. You're going to need to protect yourselves and your family, and the protection is done with prayer. Protection is done with prayer, not bullets. Protection is done with prayer. Protection is done with prayer. And you're going to find out that you're not praying enough as this consciousness expands. The prayer will come from out of your head now and down into your heart chakra. And your sitting one in there will be praying. And you'll be finding out that you're the result of a meditation that he or she is doing within there. Now the he or she, it's not a gender thing. It's a combination of both sitting there and the understanding of it. And with not the flaunting or the flagrant display of, what do you say, lack of wisdom we'll call it, which you're seeing in your world now. You're seeing the scrambling of the snakes climbing up, trying to climb, piling on each other, attacking each other. It's a sign for you beings to understand that you need to separate yourself from the spiritual context to the identity of yourself. The birth name, birth date, birth number, and the birth of the I amness that you are recognizing yourself as having going through a lifetime here. That's the process. You're in it. So acknowledge yourself, and I'm going to say acknowledge your past lives. But what you begin to understand now, your past life is what you just got through living from 1 year old to however you're old now. Or from the birth canal process, actually. And you're going through the memories of that now. All of you are. You're remembering your younger years. And the new ones coming, they're confused because they see the confusion in the adults. You forgot your teachings, teachers. Time to remember and get started. We are through for now.